The Housing Secretary is facing calls to quit over his decision to approve a controversial housing project in the east of London. Robert Jenrick is accused of taking cash for favours after it emerged that the property developer Richard Desmond donated thousands of pounds to the Conservative Party just days after he was granted permission to build the Westferry project. The Prime Minister has given Mr Jenrick his backing, saying that he considers the matter closed.
So it's very clear from the documents released last night and the text messages that both the planning inspector and Jenrick's own officials both agreed unanimously and very clearly that he should reject the planning application. He chose to override both sets of advice to actually approve it. And what was very interesting is that the minister was concerned about the viability of the scheme, the payment of the £45 million of community infrastructure levy, but nobody else in the department seemed to have those concerns.
Well, for the latest, we can speak to our correspondent, Ali Fortescue. And Ali, the Prime Minister says the matter's closed. Is it?
Well, I think if you judge it by the front pages of the papers this morning, I don't think it is. I think those texts, those emails yesterday have certainly fueled Robert Jenrick's critics. I think at the very least, those texts show that Mr Desmond was someone that had contact with Mr Jenrick, someone who had access to him, had his number, was texting him in the build-up to that planning application being granted after they sat next to each other at a dinner. But as you say, the Prime Minister at the moment standing by his Housing Secretary. We've yet to see anyone on the Conservative front bench break ranks. And I think until we get any new information or we see a senior Tory breaking ranks, I think at the moment it looks like that is what it will take it to move this on and potentially see Mr Jenrick resigning. So I don't think that is going to happen yet. But let's have a quick listen to what the Business Minister had to say a little earlier on today.
What Robert Jenrick wanted to do, rightly, is build more homes in London. By the way, the Labour Mayor of London has to make a decision on the percentage of affordable homes and the viability of any scheme. You've got to make sure these schemes are built rather than just talked about. You know, it's a disgrace that boroughs like Tower Hamlets Planning Committee have to close early because there's lack of business. We need more homes built. It's only right that they are built. Robert Jenrick's absolute energy and focus is on getting more homes built. This matter, I think, has now been laid to rest.
Worth saying this isn't the first time criticism has surrounded the Housing Secretary. You'll remember a couple of months ago he was criticised for going to his second home in Herefordshire during the lockdown. He's also been criticised for a couple of other planning applications. Yesterday he was in a story in the Times about a planning application for an extension to his own home. There's also some controversy around an application he granted for the Jockey Club in Surrey. So this is not a Secretary of State that has been free of controversy. But as I say, the Prime Minister is standing by him. A former cabinet member told me he thought that Jenrick had been naive but didn't deserve to lose his job. But I think whatever way you look at it, a Secretary of State being on the front page of most of the national papers, it is not a particularly good look, and I think will probably not put him in the best position when it comes to the cabinet reshuffle that we expect in September.
Ali Fortescue, thank you very much indeed. Well, the Prime Minister is set to slash red tape in a bid to help the economy to recover from coronavirus as the UK continues through the summer sunshine.